They've broken the driver's side window. They're breaking the windshield out. They're taking equipment out of there now.
It's the part of a championship that no one puts on a banner or adds to the commemorative video. The game ends, the city cheers, and then a riot erupts.
That it's become part of the expected culture, just like rushing the field or rushing the court after you win a big game.
Robert Carruthers teaches at Ohio Northern University and is an expert on sports riots. He sees the potential for trouble after the NBA Finals this year.
If it's been 5 years or more, the likelihood tends to go up of a riot.
James settled for a three and nails it!
Carruthers says a major factor in the city's volatility is how long it's been since its last championship. The Warriors haven't won a title since 1975. And for Cleveland fans like Carruthers, there hasn't been anything to celebrate since the 1964 Browns. The Cavaliers have never won an NBA title.
If you're under the age of 50, you've never experienced a championship as a Cleveland sports fan. That's a drought that's pretty significant.
And the NBA Finals are tied!
If and when we finally win something, there's going to be an explosion here, an explosion of emotion.
Whether you win or lose, you could have an issue.
Charles Ramsey is the Philadelphia Police Commissioner and was a deputy chief in the Chicago Police Department when the Bulls started their championship run in the early 1990s.
Sadly, the Bulls' repeat championship was the athletic backdrop for a social night of looting and violence in various parts of Chicago.
After the Bulls' 1992 championship, more than 1,000 people were arrested and 107 police officers were injured.
But there's always a small subset that usually gets involved in the middle of a crowd, and they take it too far.
Ramsey said Chicago police learned they needed to have more personnel ready to go, to anticipate potential hotspots, and to reach out to the community for help early on.
You have to really try to engage business leaders. For an example, we learned and got the cooperation of most of them to not serve bottles of beer, to serve everything in paper cups. Why? Because they were used as projectiles.
What are the major challenges that police in both Cleveland and Oakland and San Francisco are going to be facing?
Just keeping the peace. Having that balance of allowing people to celebrate, but celebrate responsibly. And what are those things that are going to be allowed, and what are those things that aren't going to be allowed, and making sure that's communicated.
Curry for three, puts it in!
As for the Warriors, Bay Area officials have some idea of where to anticipate problems, following riots after the San Francisco Giants' recent World Series wins. Win or lose, Cleveland has the additional problem of the arena's proximity to the city's entertainment district and the massive crowds officials expect. In recent years, some cities have rioted regardless of the outcome.
What we're seeing here is a celebration riot even though you lose. And we're going to party when the game's over regardless of the outcome.
But why does a crowd of otherwise law-abiding fans sometimes become violent? Carruthers cites a standard sociological phenomenon. It's called a social current.
If you're watching the game by yourself, you probably don't trash your own living room. But if you are downtown with 2,000 other people and the rules seem to be off, you might end up doing some very questionable things.
The threat of unrest comes in a year when law enforcement has already faced increased scrutiny nationally after several high-profile fatal police shootings, including 12-year-old Tamir Rice in Cleveland.
There's a heightened awareness, both in terms of the public's perception of police and also police officers who are really, second-guessing themselves in some situations, which could be very dangerous for them. So it's just not a very good climate right now.
You want to let people express themselves, you want to have other people have a good time and celebrate, but then there's the law too, and you can't destroy property, so we just have to be there and we have to use our best judgment to act on what we see.
How do you prepare for the possibility that even with a celebration crowd, there could be people who are simply looking to provoke police?
Well, I think that's part of the job, unfortunately. We know, we've dealt with them. There's a lot of them here, and you just have to deal with them accordingly.
But even under the best circumstances, Commissioner Ramsey says there is only so much a city can do if people are determined to cause trouble. What do you make of it, that somehow that's part of the sports culture now?
It doesn't have to be. One thing we could probably do is stop calling it celebrating, because it's not. Call it for what it is. It's criminal activity that's taking place. The people who really want to celebrate and enjoy a championship aren't doing that stuff. But they aren't burning cars. They're not looting stores. What has that got to do with winning a championship? Nothing.